So I moved my damp box over next to me, so I don't have to keep on getting up, moving, getting up. So I moved it over to the side. You guys feel free to move your damp boxes if your pieces are in there or not. Always make sure when you're not using it, the lid goes back on. It doesn't have to be locked, it just has to be back on. Okay, so I can reach in here. Gotta figure out if you set to dry. And if they're a little tacky, get newspaper out and set them out on your bench so they can dry out while you're trimming. So some of these, once you put them in here, they do rehydrate. Okay, so mine are a little bit tacky. So I want to get my wheel head. I'm just taking my finger . It's got to be close. Again, you know, the lines on your wheel will help, but if your lip is centered and your bottom of your foot isn't centered, it's gonna be completely different. Okay. Then from here, I'm just taking clay little lugs and I'm pressing them down to the bat. I'm not pressing them into my pot because you'll alter the lip. Okay, so I'm just so that's done. Okay, another trick is to center is you just draw a circle and you check the thickness all the way around. If it's thicker on one side, you push it that way. Understand that? So say it's my circle, my line is, it's a lot thicker over here, I would move my pot over to that side. Okay, so now I have a lot of support clay. This is called support clay right here. I can determine to trim that in if I want or not. So actually you guys need your big loop tool too. So the big brown one with the big loop on it, you need that one too. So I'm gonna take my left hand, my fingers in the middle. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. That is just keeping it from vibrating, and it's keeping it on the wheel head. So I'm just keeping my finger here. See where I'm not holding my trimming tool back here. I'm holding it clear up here so I can guide it. Take all these trimmings. All these trimmings can go back into your water bucket, your big bucket, your little bucket, whatever you want to. Okay. I'm gonna use, this is like a smaller version of your guys' loop tool. I always use the loop tool on the outside. Okay, so the bigger tool is always on the outside. I'm not going fast. Trust me, the faster you go, the pot will fly the farthest. Nice control. See how this has a little point on it? Your loop tool has a little point. That always is going towards the top. That's always to the top. Because I'm gonna dig this in to create that little undercut. So if I just take this, see how that foot has a nice undercut now where the glaze will run down and then run around it? Okay, I like this exterior shape. You can trim some of this off. Has a nice flow to it. Okay, now you use this tool. Again, I prefer this one, and you'll understand why, but we'll use this one. We're only primarily using this corner. So we're using the right corner of this. Now I can go back to the flat. I'm not going all the way. I'm leaving this much clay right here. So I'm leaving as about as thick as my whole thickness of my pot is. Okay. So I can tell, see mine, I don't know if you guys can see it. When I push down, it's fluxing, okay? If yours doesn't do that, I mean, I'm not pushing, I'm patting down. If it starts doing that, moving, that means you're getting close to the foot. Like you're getting close to going all the way through. So just what I'm gonna do next is clean it up. So clean it up is, I want a 45-degree angle on in the interior. Get a tool that works. 45-degree on the exterior. Then last thing I want to do is take your big loop tool and just flatten it. If you can get your loop tool in here, this will help compress it. Okay, now the last thing you want to do is clean it up. So you can use this tool or you can use this. I kind of prefer this. So I flip it over so that I have this nice round. So all I'm doing is I'm burnishing the piece. So all my trimming marks disappear. See how it cleaned it up? Glaze will not hide those. I mean, I used to get reamed. Like I would not take, it takes 1 minute to clean up your piece. Take that minute to clean up your piece. On the interior, do the same thing. I get my piece of wet paper towel. I'm just smoothing that foot. I don't want any sharp edges. If I have a sharp edge, if I set it down at an angle on the table, it'll crack immediately. So just take time, get a paper towel like you do on the rims of your pieces. You want a nice smooth foot so it doesn't. I gave bowls to my grandma when I was a student here at Doane. And she had a brand new kitchen table and she slid the bowl across and it scratched her whole table. So take time to round the edges. What's the last thing you should do? Just like any other piece of artwork, sign it. Okay. Always sign with your last name. Your last name is, you know, your first name is important, but your last name is important. You know, there's going to be, if I sign Eric, how many Erics are there? Okay. So I just sign with my last name. And then what I would do as a student for these first cylinders, I would make a number 1. So when we start doing glazes, you can, in your glaze book, pot number 1 has salt blue on it. So you can't be like, oh, I think this pot is blue, but it could be green. So just number them. Once we get going to like, you get the grasp of it, we won't have to number them, okay? When we're done, carefully take these off. Okay, pop it up. If you have water, it's going to suction to the back, which is good. So all you have to do is just okay. Then, depending on how soft your piece is, really look at it and kind of go back and finish your rim. Okay, so we have a nice foot. It's all cleaned up. You don't see any of my trim marks. It has a nice little undercut for the lip. When I'm done with this, this then goes on newspaper. Okay, I always put the pots straight like this. Don't flip them upside down because we just trim this, and this is like the thinnest hard on your cup. That will crack. So get newspaper, put these down, and then we cover them. We cover them for a day or two. Why? Again, if we just let this go, it'll crack from the interior. So set them on newspaper, put a whole bunch of newspaper over here, and then when we cut, we don't have to cover them individually. We can take a bag and lay it over all of them. But that's one pot. Okay, so I would have newspaper. I would set it over here, carefully, done. Get my wheel. These lugs, I call them lugs. Use them 3 or 4 times. They're gonna dry out. Put them in your clay bucket, get new ones.